In this lesson, I'm going to run you through an introduction in the subject customer management. Now, the subject customer management is only taken at the postgraduate level of the Zambia Institute of Marketing program. And without getting into so much about introducing the topic, let's get straight into the introduction. I need you to understand that the name of the subject is very important. Customer management, because the entire course is going to be about the customer and how we manage the relationship between a business, an organization, and the customer. And this is all what this course is all about. It's about managing customer relationship. And that's all. Not that's all with the introduction. I need you to appreciate that business nowadays is all about how you manage your relationship with the customer. If the customer is not happy, they will not buy from you again. If the customer is happy, they will buy from you again. So you need to manage the relationship such that there's much more productivity, there's much more customer retention. The customer is also able to freely, at their own will, tell others about how good your products are. This is what it's all about. So the importance of this particular subject cannot be overemphasized. It is very, very important. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the customer. Who is the customer? The customer is the person that buys from you, buys and or uses your product. Think of yourself and you having a dog, right? And you go and buy dog food. Who is the customer? The dog or you? The customer is you, not the dog. Well, I'm saying that hoping you don't eat dog food. So it's important then to know who is this particular person that's buying from us. Why are they buying from us? What is it that they use our products for? So the starting point is to appreciate that the customer is the person that buys and or uses your products. This particular person can fall under two categories. It can be an organization, or it can be an individual. When I walk into ShopRite to buy sugar, I'm buying sugar for my consumption, individual consumption and my family consumption. That's why I'm buying it. But when Zambia Bottlers buys sugar, e.g. Zambia Bottlers, right? Is it still called Zambia Bottlers? They used to make Coca-Cola. We still have Coca-Cola, so probably they still have the same name. And as an individual, Subway. Yeah, that's my name. That's my name. So customer is going to fall under two categories. You've got individual customers and you have got organizational customers. Now there are differences between these. Individual customers, we buy in small quantities. Small quantities. Organizations, bulk purchases. They buy in bulk. Examiners may actually ask you for the differences between individual customers and organizational customers. Another way in which they can present us that kind of question is by asking you the difference between consumer markets and industrial or organizational markets. They're talking about the same thing. So one of the differences is that individuals buy in small quantities and organizations buy in bulk. Another is that individuals buy at impulse. I have money, I've gotten paid, then when I pass through a mall, I see something being sold and I like it, I buy it. But for organizations, it's planned purchases. Number 3, individuals do not exactly need some professionalism or some kind of special skill to buy. Okay, so we just buy, no specific professionalism that's needed, no expertise. But for organizations, as we proceed in these lessons, you will see how we will begin to narrow down on this one, which is strategies. Strategies of customer management. We will get into details. Examples of strategies include key account management. Another example of a strategy is customer service. And as we proceed in our studies, these are some of the key strategies that we're going to look at. Not these two, there are more than two, but they are very important in maintaining that relationship with the customer. After all, the name of the subject is customer management. My name is Savoy. Feel free to get in touch with me. 0966930260. Send me a WhatsApp message. We chat. And I will see you in the next lesson. Experts are involved. Experts are involved. They do not just buy any laptop. They have specifications of what they desire of laptops. Number 4 is that individuals, right, like me, when I go and buy, I buy for consumption. I purchase sugar for consumption. Organizations, on the other hand, do not purchase for consumption. They purchase for production. They purchase for production. Do you see that? So these are some of the differences between individual customers and organizational customers. Another way of putting it is that these are the differences between consumer markets and organizational markets. I can add one more distinctive factor. And this factor is that one person can decide. As an individual, I can decide. I walk into a shop, I can decide. I may not all the time need to consult my family members. I may not need to consult my wife. I may not need to consult my workmates, my brothers and sisters. I just buy. But for organizations, there are more than one person. More than one person is involved in the process. And this group of people is what's known as the decision-making unit. Decision-making unit. DMU. DMU, like that, yes. So examiners, to repeat, examiners may ask you for the differences between consumer markets and organizational markets. Like they may ask you for the differences between individual customers and organizational customers. They are talking about the same thing. So to appreciate this subject, you need to know who the customer is. And that's the starting point. The customer, is the customer an individual customer or an organizational customer? At this point, I'll need to bring in a topic, though I will not get into details in this introductory lesson, of what is known as buyer behavior. Buyer behavior. Now, this topic is also covered in the subject marketing, because there are 4 subjects that you take at the postgraduate level, right? There's marketing, there's branding, there's the research, and there is this one, customer management. So the subject of buyer behavior, is also covered in the subject marketing. And so I will not get into details here, because remember that this is an introductory lesson, and in future I will give you a presentation on buyer behavior. I brought in the aspect of buyer behavior because buyer behavior helps us to know why customers are buying from us, when they buy, their desired mode of payment, and what they use the products for. It helps us to understand those things, and it's very important. Marketers must be able to have that information. How do you get that information? Ask the customers. They'll tell you. Let's proceed. We've talked about the customer. Now let's move and talk about management. Now, when people talk about the word management, they are talking about two things. One of two things. Number one, they could be referring to, number one, organizational executives. Ama bosses. Okay? So when someone comes to your company and they say, hi, is anyone in senior management available? What do they mean? They're talking about that group of people who make decisions for the business. Number two, ever gone to a wedding and then you say, these guys, they're very poor when it comes to time management? It means that management is used in reference to a specific object. Not producing the desired results or producing the desired results. Okay? Not producing the desired results or producing the desired results. I should have left a gap. Why am I writing like this? Okay? Or producing the desired results. So when you say, you know what? If Jimmy tells you to meet him at 14 hours, you better be there at 14 hours because he is so good at time management. At the same time, you can say of someone else, 14 hours, he will be there at 15 hours because he's poor when it comes to time management. The whole point is that when the customer or any person or you or anyone uses the word management, they use it in reference to one of these two. Number one, you could be referring to a specific object not producing or producing the desired results. Or you could be referring to those people in a company that make the decisions. To get straight to the point, there is no standard definition of management. No standard definition of management. Definition of management. There is a definition of weather. That weather is the condition of the day at a particular time and stuff like that. Things we learned when we were young. But there is no specific definition of management. Every time someone is talking about management, they are talking in most cases, they are talking about number two. They are talking about time, they're talking about money, they're talking about people, they're talking about physical resources, managing those particular people, managing time, managing money, managing those particular physical resources. And so there is no specific definition of management. However, we will look at some of the issues that are involved when we talk about management. These are, number one, what do managers do? They analyze. Analysis. Number two, they set objectives. The guy who's selling shoes and decoders does not decide how many he needs to sell in a month. That decision has already been made, and all that he's doing is he's going door to door to meet that particular target and possibly exceed it. Number three, strategies. Management is involved with all this. Management, when we talk about management, we are talking about analysis. When we talk about management, we're talking about setting objectives. When we talk about management, we're talking about strategizing. What else? What else? We could also be talking about implementing. Number 5, evaluating. And number 6, control. So what then is involved in management? A number of things are involved in management. We've talked about analysis. There's objective setting, which is set objectives. There's strategizing. There's implementing. There's evaluating. And there's control. If you follow carefully what I have just done, these particular steps are what are steps known as planning steps. And it does not matter whether these steps or whether what you are doing is you are talking about, it could be that you're talking about finance, or it could be that you're talking about human resources, or you're talking about marketing. All these, when they are planning, they are going to go through these steps. Firstly, they are going to analyze. First thing that they're going to do is that they're going to analyze. Then they're going to set objectives. Then they are going to strategize. Then they are going to implement. Then they are going to evaluate their performance to see if the performance was in line with the set objectives. These objectives, okay, these objectives. And the last step is that they're going to take corrective measures. And corrective measures are what are known as control. So these are steps in the planning process, and it is very important because examiners may ask you, for example, what are the steps in the marketing planning process? These are the ones. These are the ones. And so what is involved in management? Same thing. These are the things that are involved in management. Are they the only things that are involved in management? No. There are more things that are involved in management. But this is a fundamental building block that students need to understand the planning process. And the planning process includes these steps that I've highlighted here. And these steps are also what is known as management, or being a part of management. And so when we talk about customer management, we are talking about analyzing to appreciate the factors that apply to customers. We are talking about setting objectives. We are talking about strategizing. We are talking about implementing. We are talking about evaluation, and we are also talking about control. As we proceed in these lessons, you will see how we will begin to narrow down on this one, which is strategies. Strategies of customer management. We will get into details. Examples of strategies include key account management, another example of a strategy is customer service. And as we proceed in our studies, these are some of the key strategies that we're going to look at. Not these two, there are more than two, but they are very important in maintaining that relationship with the customer. After all, the name of the subject is customer management. My name is Savoy. Feel free to get in touch with me 0966930260. Send me a WhatsApp message, we chat, and I will see you in the next lesson.